Good morning, distinguished panel members. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today as we map out the final rule sets for 45Z. My name is Ryan Pearcy, and I'm the Managing Director of Biofuels at Arva Intelligence, headquartered here in Houston, Texas. Arva operates as an essential infrastructure layer focused on scoring, verifying, tracing, and providing audit assurance for agricultural crops used in a multitude of purposes. In just the last 3 years, we have paid out over $100 million to U.S. growers for their work lowering the carbon intensity and adopting regenerative practices in conjunction with the consumer purchase good companies they supply. Our overall company objective in regards to 45Z is straightforward: to ensure that the transition to an attribute-based biofuel economy is scientifically rigorous, completely transparent, and deeply rewarding for the domestic growers and fuel producers who form the backbone of the supply chain. Let me be frank, the current American agricultural situation is brutal. Production costs are sitting at near all-time highs. Simultaneously, the export markets that American farmers have traditionally relied upon to maintain a baseline price floor are under tremendous sustained pressure. At the same time, our collective culture is asking our agricultural community to transition to regenerative farming practices such as no-till, cover crops, and more efficient nitrogen utilization. Yet these practices are historically challenging and highly costly to adopt in the initial years. Now, I do want to be clear, we do not think that 45Z is a silver bullet, and we should not misrepresent it as a cure-all for every challenge facing rural America. But what 45Z does provide is a historic, unique opportunity to incentivize growers during an incredibly dark economic cycle. If crafted correctly, these rules will bolster our national security, enhance ecological health, and help restore rural stability. However, to achieve this, we cannot lose sight of the American taxpayer. For this program to succeed, we must employ rigorous traceability methodologies that protect against fraud while directly compensating the individuals doing the actual work. Based on Arva's extensive hands-on experience in Scope 3, mass balance accounting, and feedstock carbon intensity scoring, we strongly urge the Treasury, in conjunction with the Department of Energy and Agriculture, to adopt 4 key pillars of the proposed guidance. First is Arva strongly advocates for mandating a mass balance chain of custody model for all grain movement from the field to the biofuel facility, whether that grain moves through directly from the purchase of a farmer or through a third-party aggregator in the commercial market. We must draw a firm line against loose book and claim systems. Compared to book and claim, a mass balance framework provides a significantly more robust guardrail against the fraudulent assignment of CI values. This security stems directly from its core requirement. There must be an easily audible ledger showing the physical link between the produced low CI attribute and the actual physical volume of grain delivered to a facility. By requiring on-site to grain supplier volume reconciliation, we establish a straightforward auditable reality check that substantially reduces the potential for double counting. Mass balance mandates multiple intersecting documents that track exact volumes of grains and their associated CI assets from the soil to the processing plant. Decoupling the CI asset from the physical grain and seeing the book and claim invites a risk of market manipulation. Let there be no question about technological readiness. The tools to execute this are deployed and working right now. Arva's own digital ID of grain technology already enables us to create a digital twin for every single harvested bushel, providing tokenized traceability from its exact geospatial origin point straight to the biofuel facility. Any deviation from a strict mass balance reporting requirement creates an unnecessary ambiguity and market uncertainty. Linking physical bushels managed in an entity directly to the gallons of biofuel produced is the only path to absolute auditable fidelity. Second, to continue to reduce the systematic risk of fraud, the IRS must require all enrolled agriculture acres to be tracked in a common industry-wide registry. We need to establish absolute ledger integrity. A centralized shared registry ensures that once a specific bushel's low CI attributes are retired for a federal 45Z tax claim, those attributes are permanently locked. They cannot be quietly resold into a voluntary Scope 3 corporate market, nor can they be double claimed by a competing biofuel facility. Furthermore, participation in a shared acreage registry allows for independent verification of the crop type, the harvest year, and the exact geospatial production boundary. This dramatically reduces systemic risks across the entire energy sector. Moving forward with a single national ledger is a perfectly consistent within the administration's mandate to use a single national accounting tool specifically mentioned in the 45Z CF Green model. From a transparency standpoint alone, a centralized registry is a superb vehicle or audit reduction risk. Third, biofuel feedstock reports must be limited strictly and exclusively to the specific fields where the grain utilized for that biofuel production was grown. We must ensure that clean CI scores are not contaminated by grain grown on other acres for entirely separate commercial purposes. Arva today utilizes field-specific tracking in our private sector programs. Large multinational consumer packaged good companies are deeply wary of the greenwashing that frequently occurs under loose whole-of-farm reporting, and they are demanding high-precision traceability. Arva strongly opposes whole-of-farm averaging for the following critical reasons. The first is grower flexibility. Forcing a farmer to average their CI scores across every single crop acre is a primitive practice in all regards. It actively strips away a grower's ability to intensively manage individual fields or specific markets with clear, highly targeted quantitative financial incentives attached. The removal of ILUC is historically, with the whole farm feedstock reports, they were designed with this to ensure that a farm's primary and secondary crops weren't being grown on land recently converted from protected wetlands or forests. However, with the indirect land use change being completely removed from the 45Z calculations as of January 1st, 2026, with it being gone, the actual need for the ability for a whole farm average is completely reduced and basically considered superfluous at this point. Third is the risk mitigation for practice adoption. Farmers operate on razor-thin margins, and they are far more likely to pilot daunting new practices like cover crops if they can test them on a single specific field without subjecting the entire operation to a massive, unpredictable change like putting on a cover crop does. By spreading across the entire farmed acreage for that grower, he is reducing the actual CI reduction of that specific field that he may be putting directly into a biofuel crop. To protect the absolute integrity of the 45Z credit, we only need to document and attribute the specific acres tied to the relevant bushels utilized by that biofuel facility. Fourth, and perhaps most important for the scientific validity of this policy, Arva strongly recommends the final regulations adopt the primary data attributes and carbon assumption models found within the 2025 GREET R&D FDCIC feedstock carbon intensity calculator. We recommend these as strict requirements that must be integrated either directly or attributed in with the proposed USDA FDCIC model. We must demand scientific rigor. The 2025 R&D GREET model incorporates advanced peer-reviewed methodologies and high-fidelity data sets that provide a significantly more rigorous framework for carbon modeling. Integrating these advanced data sets will vastly increase credit accuracy with very limited additional data entry for the stakeholder. Critically, the 2025 R&D GREET FDCIC methodology prioritizes primary foreground data, being direct, verifiable data pulled straight from the machine, yield monitors, satellites, and farm management information systems. Decided granular accounting from cradle to farm gate is infinitely more definitive than relying on broad sweeping county or regional estimations. Furthermore, using multiple points of verification tied directly to primary data drastically lowers the systemic risk of tax fraud. But most importantly, it protects the grower incentive by accurately capturing the specific localized CI the growers yield. With this, the 2025 R&D FDCIC GREET method rewards farmers for the full unmitigated value of their regenerative practices. Under less rigorous, simple to fill and entry tools, the hard work of these farmers is diluted, stripping them of the economic value they earned. We are completely confident in the accuracy and vetting of the 2025 R&D FDCIC GREET model, and its integration is vital to the efficacy of 45Z. In conclusion, the 45Z tax credit represents the single most significant convergence of the American agriculture and energy policy we have seen in decades. It is a monumental opportunity, but we must get the rules right. By prioritizing mass balance, mandating traceability via common registry, enforcing field-specific reporting, and demanding higher scientific rigor through the use of the 2025 R&D FDCIC GREET model, the Treasury Department can ensure the credit effectively improves our national economy and security across multiple fronts. We can simultaneously protect the integrity and transparency of the American tax system while providing a vital economic lifeline to our domestic growers and biofuel producers. We simply need to act, and we need to act now. Thank you, and I welcome any further questions from this committee on how we can help drive this critical issue forward. Please let us not have perfection get in the way of progress.